So I'm going to read this from the great Kevin Powell on Twitter. On this day, April 1st in 1984, Marvin Gaye was shot dead by his father. A very tragic end for this musical giant. I recall my mother's profound sadness at the news. His song Pride and Joy is what my mother would hum to me when a child. Listen to Marvin all day. Today, I must. Whenever we have the GOAT conversation, Marvin Gaye his name actually should come up more often than it should. Because I always argue about Stevie Wonder all the time, but we should also argue for Marvin Gaye. There's always like videos of Michael Jackson, like they have Michael, there's like, especially on TikTok, they have like Michael laying his different vocals down for background vocals, like off the wall, something like that, and how he goes from high to low. Marvin Gaye did that, like that. I mean, I'm not saying Marvin Gaye didn't use any backup singers, but for the most part, he didn't. He layered those vocals, and he's doing this on reel to reel. Like, go check it out. Like he does not get enough credit for his studio prowess. He gets a lot of credit for his singing ability, but man, in the studio, that dude is unmatched. He's so good. So good. But let me give you my top 5 Marvin Gaye songs on the anniversary of his death. Number 1, After the Dance. After the Dance has been remade quite a few times, but there's such a smoothness to that song, and that's a later Marvin Gaye hit. It's just so smooth. If you're in a bad mood, put on After the Dance, and it's like you just feel good as a person. It just feels so good. Number 2, I Want You. There is a fantastic video of Marvin Gaye singing that song. And it looks like when he actually recorded the song, he's laying on the couch like this and singing the song, I want you. Just laying on the couch. There are people who are making songs today standing up who don't even come close to those vocals. And this dude is laying in the cut, just so smooth, sounding like Marvin Gaye, just singing that song. It's so good. It's so surreal because you don't think you can get that much power laying on your side, but you got to find that video. Number 2 and 3 might surprise people. Is 2 of the songs he did with Tami Terrell. All I Need and Ain't No Mountain High Enough. He had such a special relationship with Tami Terrell. They didn't date. I think she dated David Ruffin, but they had more of a brother-sister relationship. But the way they sang to each other, it seems like these two were really in love, and that's what I thought about. When I was a little kid, I saw like an old video of them singing. They must have. They were. I asked my mom, were they married? It's like, no, they were just friends. And it's like, really? Because there was a magic between them, and the tragedy of that era was that at the beginning of the 60s of the Motown era, Marvin was very smoothed out. It's like young Cam Newton and old Cam Newton. Young Cam Newton was all smoothed out, and he looked like a young Marvin Gaye. Like Marvin's all smoothed out, but by the end, Tami Terrell gets a brain tumor. She passes away. His marriage to Berry Gordy's sister is disintegrating, and he's contemplating suicide during that point. Like when we see the Marvin Gaye we see in the picture here with the beard and the eye, you could tell by his eyes that he's gone through something. When you see the young Marvin Gaye, there's like a happiness and joy in his eyes, but by the time we get to like what's going on and things like that, like there's a sadness to him, which actually made him a better singer, which is crazy. Like Marvin Gaye initially wanted to be like Frank Sinatra. That was his goal. And even then, like early on, he didn't feel like he was as good of a singer as Frank Sinatra, because Frank was like the standard in a lot of ways. Like Frank Sinatra's tone is like outrageous, but as great as Marvin Gaye was, he was just that mountain of Frank. And I'm sure, he hit that mountain, but I don't know if he felt like he did, because people like this always. Beyonce has that too, not from a singing ability, just from an artistic ability. People can tell you that you're great all the time, but you have to push yourself to be better. And Marvin Gaye, if all he did was Heard It Through the Grapevine and those songs in the 60s, he would have been fine. But he pushed himself because he saw more. Which brings me to the number 5 song that I like. It's a Slash. Like, What's Going On and Let's Get It On. What's Going On is like the song is like, okay, I'm going to tell you what's happening in the world. But Let's Get On is like, but after I tell you about the world, we about to smash. Those 2 songs, What's Going On and Let's Get It On, kind of deal with the duality of Gaye. Gaye was a very observant type person. I mean, and Berry Gordy did not want to release What's Going On. I think Gordy was like, it's too long, it's not commercial, no one's gonna buy it. And Smokey Robinson, he felt like, hey, that song's a hit. But Berry goes, nope. But after months upon months, he put it out. And I think Berry just thought, well, the song's gonna die. And the song is probably one of the greatest songs of all time. What's going on? And let's get it on. Listen, man, if you want to make some babies, just put that song on. You'll be fine. That song is so good. And so the thing about his death, which was so crazy, if you've never seen Jungle Fever by Spike Lee, Jungle Fever, yes, it dealt with the interracial relationship between Wesley Snipes and Alberto Shiora, which is great. But there was a secondary story with Samuel L. Jackson, who deserved an Oscar for his role as Gator, and it mimicked Marvin Gaye's relationship with his father. And in the movie, Sam had a great relationship with his mom, played by Ruby Dee, but his father, played by Ossie Davis, could not stand Sam's drug addiction, which mirrored what happened with Marvin Gaye and his father, who was a pastor. Um, I don't even know how that even happens. Like your father, I could tell, like his father hated the fact that Marvin was on drugs, and Marvin actually cleaned himself up before he made Sexual Healing. He went to Belgium to clean himself out. He's like, I got to get away from L.A. I got to get away off all these people. He goes to Belgium. He stayed with family out there. He got himself healthy and strong. He made Sexual Healing and that whole album. And in fact, recently it came out that there's a bunch of tapes, a bunch of demos from that time that's going to be sold because they found it in an attic or something like that. He felt good. He came back here, released Sexual Healing, monster hit. He did the national anthem for the Lakers game, one of the best national anthems ever. But he fell into that bad crowd again and got hooked on drugs again. And it's tragic because I'm sure his father didn't want his son to die as a drug addict. But man, to kill your own son and to be a pastor at that, I don't know how you can even come back from that. But yeah, that death was tragic. But tell me what your favorite Marvin Gaye songs are, because Marvin made a ton of songs, and maybe give me like an unsung song we should know, like an underrated song that Marvin made that we should listen to today on the passing of his death.